Hey, this video is going to show you how I would like you to do these two papers about value. You should have this paper that has 3 value scales, and then this paper which has the definition for value and these 2 circles right here. So value we've talked about a little bit and we've used it before, we just haven't really focused on it. Value is the lightness or darkness of a color. So back when we were shading a sphere, we would show highlights and shadows. So that is value. So on this paper, I want you to do this one first. And there's 3 methods to make different values. Well, there's more than 3, but there's 3 on this page. And this first one's called stippling. And that's just using dots to create value. And so what we'll do here is in this first box, we're going to create some dots, very spread out. So just a few dots, okay? And then what you're gonna do is do the same thing on all of these squares, about the same dot density all the way across, so that each of these 6 squares has like this one layer of spaced out dots, okay? So that's one layer all the way across. So now what we'll do is start with the second box and add a second layer only to the second box and on. So we're just gonna add more dots, maybe about the same amount you added the first time. And so notice that this dot density, there's more dots here. So this would be a darker shade than this one. And we're gonna add the second layer to the rest of the value scale. So we have, okay, layer 2 is done. So this one is the least, and then these are all about the same. So now we're gonna go over here to the third box and add our third layer here. And our dot density is increasing. So we're adding the third layer to the rest of the boxes. Okay, so this has 1 layer, this one has 2 layers, the rest have 3 layers. And you know what to do next. Now we'll go to box 4, add a 4th layer of dots here on box 4 and all the way across. Then you'll add a 5th layer to box 5 and box 6, and then you'll add a 6th layer only to box 6, okay? So I'm not gonna finish doing that because I think you can do that on your own. Hatching and cross hatching uses lines. So up here we use dots. Down here, we're gonna just use lines. So our first layer, we can just, hatching is just using lines that go one way. So we can do our first layer of hatching all the way across. We could even do cross hatching on all of them. Cross hatching would be using diagonal lines that crisscross. Okay, so there's the first layer of cross hatching. We'll go with cross hatching on this one. So layer 1 is done. So now we'll go to box 2 and we'll add all the way across. You can do yours a lot neater than mine. The hatching and cross hatching on boxes 2 through 6. So now box 1 has the first layer, box 2 through 6 have the second layer. So now we'll go to the third box and we'll add hatching and cross hatching. Again, I'm doing mine really fast. Yours is gonna look much neater than mine. All the way across. So there's the third layer, and then you would continue on with 4, 5, and 6. Okay, on this last one, it's just shading. So you would start with the very lightest value right here. So I like to hold my pencil at the end of my pencil so that I don't press down too hard. So once you get a very nice light value, and again, you're gonna do yours very neat, not like mine. So you'll carry that light value all the way across. Okay, once you have it all the way across and filled in nice and neat, then you'll start back here at box 2 and darken box 2 up so that's a little bit darker of a value than box 1. Carry that all the way across, just like we've done before, and then you'll pick up at box 3 and make that one darker, and so on. Okay, then for this page right here, let me just go ahead and do the sphere right here. So this circle can be transformed into a sphere by just adding value. So if you want to use just regular shading like we've done before to create a sphere here, that's fine. Or you can try hatching or cross hatching or stippling. But remember, you will need to decide what direction you want the light source to come from. Don't forget to leave a highlight area, and your darkest shadow is going to be opposite of that highlight area. And if you kind of follow in with the curve of the circle, that can help you achieve that roundness look, and you will blend with your midtones. Okay, the last thing about value are some new words, is we're going to add in, instead of just pencil, we're going to add in color. So whatever color you want to use here, I'm going to use, this is just regular blue. I'm going to use blue. And so if you take your color in the first box, nice and neat. Again, I'm doing mine quickly. And then if you add white to a color, which, you know, this doesn't do a whole lot when you put white on white, so you can just leave that box blank. But when you mix together blue and white, you would get a lighter shade of blue. We call that a tint of blue. So we wouldn't call that a shade of blue because that's down here. So when you mix a white with a color, you get what's called a tint of that color. So we can create a tint with colored pencils by just coloring lightly. Now if we're using paint, it's really easy to make a tint with paint by mixing blue and white paint. But colored pencil doesn't blend as well as paint. So we have to use a different way. So we're just gonna not press down as hard so we can get a tint of blue right here. When you mix a black with a color, you get what's called a shade. So I'm going to use my same blue, color that first box in, and then black. And with your colored pencils, you can kind of overlap your your color, whatever color you choose, and your black. Now remember, kind of go light on the black because it can easily cover up your color. So then you get a shade of blue. A shade is a darker value of your regular color. And then lastly, we have a word you maybe have never heard before in this sense, and it's called a tone. So this is when we take your color and we add gray. When you add gray to a color, it's called a tone. It just think about it as it tones down your color, so it kind of makes it not as vibrant. So you can do the same thing here like we did with black to create the shade. You can use your color, and then you can just overlap your gray to create the tone. So it's kind of just a toned down blue. Okay? So you can cut all these out. You should be able to fit all of this on one page, and then you can fit all of this on the next page of your sketchbook.